The rise and fall of the British Empire. At its height, the British Empire controlled nearly a quarter of the Earth's landmass and governed over 400 million people. It was the largest empire in history where the sun never set. It was a global powerhouse that reshaped the world economically, politically, and culturally. But it was also an empire built on conquest, exploitation, and rebellion. How did a small island nation rise to such power? And what led to its dramatic collapse? This is the story of the rise and fall of the British Empire, its origins, its expansion, its golden age, and ultimately, its decline. The British Empire began not with grandeur, but with ambition. In the late 16th century, under Queen Elizabeth I, English seafarers like Sir Francis Drake and Sir Walter Raleigh sought new lands, trade routes, and wealth. They raided Spanish treasure fleets, funding a new era of exploration. Their goals were not only economic, but also religious and geopolitical. England wanted to challenge the Catholic Spanish and Portuguese empires dominating global trade. The first colonies, such as Roanoke and Jamestown, were experiments driven by private companies like the Virginia Company. These early efforts laid the foundation for Britain's future global reach. By the 17th and 18th centuries, Britain's empire had taken shape around the principles of mercantilism, where colonies existed to enrich the mother country. The Caribbean became a vital region for sugar production, reliant on enslaved African labor. Meanwhile, the British East India Company, founded in 1600, expanded influence in India, trading spices, textiles, and later ruling large swaths of the subcontinent. The empire's wealth grew, but so did resistance, both abroad and at home. The transatlantic slave trade brought immense profit, but also immense moral controversy that would boil over in the 19th century. In 1776, 13 British colonies in North America declared independence. The loss of the American colonies was a major blow to British pride and power. Yet it also marked a turning point. Rather than retreating, Britain recalibrated. The empire turned its focus to Asia, Africa, and the Pacific. Australia and New Zealand were colonized. The East India Company tightened its grip on India. Undeterred, Britain simply redirected its imperial ambitions. The 19th century marked the zenith of British imperial dominance. Britain was the world's industrial superpower. Factories boomed, and the Royal Navy ruled the seas. From Canada to Australia, Africa to the Caribbean, colonies fed the empire's insatiable hunger for resources. Under Queen Victoria, the empire became a symbol of national pride. The Industrial Revolution gave Britain unmatched economic and military strength. Railways, telegraphs, and steamships connected far-flung colonies to London. India was known as the jewel in the crown. In Africa, the scramble for territory saw Britain seize vast regions from Egypt to South Africa. The empire justified its rule with the ideology of the white man's burden, a belief in racial superiority and civilizing missions. But beneath the grandeur, resistance simmered. But the empire came at a cost. Oppression, famine, and resistance simmered beneath the surface. Throughout the 19th century, the empire faced growing opposition. In 1857, the Sepoy Rebellion in India revealed deep resentment against British rule. Violent uprisings, like the Mau Mau Rebellion in Kenya, had exposed the empire's brutality. In South Africa, the Boer Wars exposed the costs of imperial ambitions. In Ireland, calls for independence turned violent. Intellectuals and reformers in Britain began to question the morality of the empire. And across the colonies, nationalist movements were growing louder. The seeds of dissolution had been planted. World War I strained the empire, and World War II broke it. Britain emerged victorious, but economically and militarily exhausted. Meanwhile, the colonies had changed. Millions of colonial subjects had fought in the wars and now demanded freedom. India's independence in 1947, led by Gandhi and Nehru, marked the beginning of the end. The Suez Crisis of 1956 proved Britain was no longer a global policeman. Over the next decades, Britain relinquished control over Africa, the Caribbean, and Asia. By 1997, even Hong Kong, its last major colony, was returned to China. The empire gave way to the Commonwealth, a symbolic network of former colonies. The British Empire left a complex legacy. It spread the English language, common law, and infrastructure. Democracy and cricket endure, but so do scars such as stolen artifacts, economic exploitation, cultural suppression and erasure, and geopolitical division. So, was the British Empire a force of progress or exploitation? The debate rages on. The British Empire is gone, but its shadow lingers. Today, Britain grapples with its imperial past. Debates over statues, reparations, and education continue. And in the former colonies, the struggle for post-colonial identity is still ongoing. History reminds us that no power lasts forever. The question now is how we reckon with the past and build a fairer future. The rise and fall of the British Empire is more than a historical narrative. It is a story of power, resistance, ambition, and change. An empire that once ruled the waves has now passed into history. But its echoes are everywhere, in borders, in languages, in lives. To understand the modern world, we should understand the empire that helped shape it. What do you think? Was the empire's impact more positive or negative? Comment below. Like this documentary? Subscribe for more in-depth historical and documentary explorations. Thank you.